Hey lovelies, this is Theety Pie, and welcome to Draw My Life. I know I'm pretty young to be doing this, I'm only 22 at the moment, but kinda like Jacksepticeye did, I'm just gonna be doing what he called and what I will call Draw My Life so far. But this one's gonna be kinda different from a lot of other YouTubers because I don't have a small whiteboard. But what I do have is I have a tablet. So I'll be drawing on that. I was a surprise baby. My parents weren't expecting my mom to get pregnant, but as soon as she did and they found out, they got married right away. I actually attended my mom's college graduation, and apparently I was really chill because I didn't cry during the entire time that I was there. I don't remember a lot about my childhood. I remember certain things, especially certain things that are funny. For instance, one day I was so excited to see my grandparents outside the window of our trailer, because we lived right next to them, that I ran straight at the screen window and knocked it out and fell down on top of it. I don't remember anything after that point. All I remember is falling, but apparently I was perfectly fine. One thing that is always, that I always remember, and that I can never forget, is that my dad was pretty abusive. He emotionally, mentally, and verbally abused my mom and I. He never really hit me. I don't know if he hit my mom, but he yelled a lot, and I heard them yelling at each other a lot of the time. He sometimes would pinch me really hard on my arm until I cried, but that was about the extent of anything physical. And he would also grit his teeth at me, try and make me be quiet, and if I wanted to watch him play something, I had to stay quiet. He left when I was 9 years old. I knew he was a horrible person, but, as a kid, being raised with both my parents for 9 years, I was really upset. When my mom told me he was gone for good and he wouldn't be coming back, I started crying, and she said it was like God had slapped her in the face and told her she needed to get her life together. I was a pretty good student before my dad left, but after that, my grades started slipping. I didn't know I had depression then, but it's clear when I think back on it now that that is what I had. I was super awkward already because I didn't know how to act around people my age before I even started going to school, but it got even worse. I thought everything had changed when I went to a sort of boarding school type thing in junior year. It focused on math and science. I did a lot of thinking while I was there, and I realized after being unable to think for myself and think about who I was, that I wasn't just some sweet little straight girl. I realized I was actually transgender. And it's not like a lot of people would think. It's not like, oh, I was born in the wrong body. That's not how I see it. My body is my body. It's just not the way I want it to be right now. I thought about it even further, and I really came to the conclusion, and it's the same now, that I'm gay. I'm a guy, and I'm gay, and I'm asexual. I don't want sex. And I never really cared for women anyway. I mean, it's not like I can't appreciate them when they're pretty and stuff, but really, I just don't really think about it like that. But, being away from home so much for the first time, and, before it was even time for me to go to college, because I could only go back on Saturdays or Fridays, and even then I had to get back on Sundays for a certain time, my grades got worse. It really was a bad time for me. I came out to my mom in my senior year of high school, after I had been back at my high school for a while. But she said, because I've recently been diagnosed with bipolar depression and schizoaffective personality disorder, which are great together, by the way, just so you know, that my disorders were making me think that I was transgender. I really haven't talked about it on my own since. She got me to see a counselor for a while, and she confronted me one day telling me that she thought that I was getting worse and that I needed to stop thinking these things. And when I made my own Facebook page with the person that I know that I am, as the forefront, she told me that I needed to get rid of it to stop people from agreeing with me. But it didn't happen. I've kept it, and I'm not going to get rid of it. But during the time that my depression was starting to rear its head, before I got diagnosed, I met a guy. I really thought he was the one. He and I had been assigned for a project together in our English class, and that's how we really started talking. We flirted, we kissed, and we held hands and things like that, because I never actually dated anybody, but it ended really quickly. I went to his house for Halloween, and we were just planning on spending time together and playing video games and doing stupid stuff, but I startled his pit bull, and the pit bull bit my finger. Still have a scar from it. I didn't get stitches because I did not want to go to the hospital, so we waited until his mom got home, and he drove me back to my house. But the dog was put down, and I feel like it was my fault because, he was just a dog, and I put my hand in his face, and I felt so bad. But he grew apart from me, and we haven't really talked since. But looking back after that, I realized there was a guy who loved me and who wouldn't leave. I'd known him for years, and yes, we met online, but after my senior year, we got together. We've been together ever since, and I love him, and he really is my world. But more recently, we had to put my dog down. Her name was Sugar. She was a yellow lab, and she was just one of the best things in my life. We'd had her since before my dad left. She was 14 years old, and it was starting to show that she was getting too old. She fell during the night one night, and she couldn't get up on her own. And the next day, we had to take her to the vet. It was horrible, because the vet staff treated her so well. They were so nice, but my mom couldn't stay in the room. But I had to. I'd already made up my mind that if something bad happened to her, I had to be there with her. And I held her, and I laid my head on her, and I listened to her take her last breath. And it felt like a part of me died along with her. She was more than just a pet. She was my family. And even though it's been 4 months since the time that, I'm recording this, it feels like yesterday. And it still hurts. I don't think I'll ever get over it. And there's no one, nothing that can replace her in my life. But anyway, back to everything else. Today I feel better than I really ever have before. I'm still not medically transitioned. I like I said before, my mom doesn't accept it. But I'm pre-surgeries, I'm pre-hormone therapy, but I feel like I'm on my way to getting there. And hopefully you guys can watch my journey and go on the journey with me. And I want to thank you guys for, if you've stuck around with me during the time that I've been gone, thank you for sticking around. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed so far. And I just want you guys to know that I love all you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!